this lecture, we are going to see two of the most famous and most studied iconic games of game theory, aiming at evaluating the value of time in taking decisions. The first is the chicken game. There are two drivers that are fast running in the same street but in opposite directions. At one point, they reach a very narrow bridge and just one car could go through it per time. They need to decide if steer or not, because none of them is willing to leave the other going through the bridge first. We are now going to fill in the payoff matrix using as payoffs the utility in each situation. For each of the driver, the best option is that he is not steering when the other do. In this way, the other is the chicken, but none of them is somehow hurt. The second best option is the case where both the drivers are steering. In that way, none of them is the chicken, but none of them is somehow hurt too. Then there is the option that one driver is steering while the other is not. In this case, the bad part of the story is that the driver did a bad impression, but at least both the drivers are safe. Finally, the worst is when none of the driver is steering, and so they are going to crash. You could see that in this game there are non-dominant alternatives, but there are two Nash solutions, respectively 4-2 and 2-4. By chance, these solutions are also efficient. In this situation, the game does not have a solution. How to release this impasse? In this case, the plus would be the possibility to see what the counterparty is doing and taking the decision on the basis of that. If the driver 1 is steering, driver 2 is passing the bridge and vice versa. In management, this takes the name of advantage of the follower. Taking more time to decide, you are able to collect additional information and so optimizing the choices on the basis of this additional data. For example, sometimes it is better to see what the counterpart is offering in a negotiation to have a clearer overview about the value of the relationship for the other part. A second game is called Battle of Sexes. There are a boyfriend and a girlfriend that have to decide how to spend an evening. The most important thing for both of them is to stay together, but they don't agree about where to go. In particular, the boy is willing to see a movie at the cinema, whereas the girl is willing to go to theater. We are now going to fill in the payoff matrix using as payoffs the utility in each situation. For the boy, the best option is going together at the cinema, for the girl at the theater. The second best option is the case where are going together but not in the preferred place. So, at the theater for the boy and at the cinema for the girl. Then there is the option that each of them is following his or her personal preference, but they do not have the chance to spend the evening together. So, the girl is going to theater with a friend and the boy to cinema. Finally, the worst is when none of them is doing what he or she prefers and is also without the partner. You could see that in this game as well there are non-dominant alternatives, but there are two Nash solutions, respectively 4-3 and 3-4. Again, by chance, these solutions are also efficient. In this situation again, the game does not have a solution. How to release this impasse? In exactly the opposite way compared to previous situation. In this case, the plus would be the possibility to decide as first, because indeed the partner is following. If the girl is coming at home with the theater tickets, it's sure that they will spend the evening there and vice versa. As a matter of fact, this mainly works also if the game is repeated. In management, this takes the name of advantage of the first mover. Taking the decision first gives additional value to that company or person. This is typically what happens when a company is willing to launch a new product or a new technology or is willing to enter into a new market. The first mover has more time to become the choice of the consumers, to make consumers loyal and so to gain a market share.